You know that feeling, right? You walk out of a meeting, you've been talking for an hour, and you've accomplished, well, pretty much nothing. We're going to fix that today. We are breaking down this really powerful framework called TALK. It's designed to take all that conversational chaos and turn it into actual strategic dialogue. So let's get into it. Okay, but before we jump into the solution, we kind of have to get real about the problem. I mean, why is it that something as basic as talking with our teammates so often just ends in friction and frustration? Oh man, we've all been there. You leave a meeting, you're feeling good, thinking everyone is totally on the same page. Then, a week later, you realize you weren't even reading from the same book. Heck, you weren't even in the same library. It's this universal pain point, and it just drains time, money, and morale. And here's something really interesting that comes out of the research on this. A lot of us, we hold back on giving updates because, we're worried about annoying our colleagues. Am I spamming them? But here's the thing, the numbers don't lie. The cost of undersharing, all that rework, the delays, the big mistakes, is always greater than the, minor annoyance of oversharing. And you know where this friction really gets bad? It's in those cross-functional teams. Think about it. You get these brilliant experts from design, manufacturing, and purchasing, all in one room, and suddenly it's like a professional Tower of Babel. Everyone's speaking a slightly different language. And that's exactly where these simple misunderstandings can just blow up into project-killing roadblocks. So, what do we do about it? How do we fix this communication breakdown? Well, the answer is to have a structured approach, and that's where the TALK framework comes in. It's designed specifically to turn all of that chaos into real clarity. And look, this isn't just some trendy new buzzword. Get this, in a survey of McKinsey alumni, TAL was consistently ranked as the single most critical interpersonal element for managing a team effectively. I mean, that's a pretty serious endorsement right there. So what is it, really? Well, at its core, the TALK framework is all about doing three key things. First, build a common shared understanding. Second, slash the number of misunderstandings. And third, speed up your decision-making. Simple as that. Okay, so what does this actually look like in practice? I mean, how do you do it? Well, it all boils down to three simple but really powerful rules. And here they are. It's communicate constantly, listen attentively, and separate the issues from the people. So let's break down each one of these because they're absolute game changers. All right, rule number one, communicate constantly. This is all about avoiding that dangerous information vacuum. You know what happens when there's silence, right? People just start filling in the blanks with their own assumptions and guesswork, and that's almost never a good thing. The whole point here is to build a culture where giving frequent updates is just normal. It's the norm, not the exception. And let's be clear, this does not mean more meetings for the sake of meetings. Nobody wants that. It's about being smart with your communication. So you use things like email and chat for those quick, transparent updates. But you save that valuable face-to-face time for building real team cohesion and for, tackling the really thorny problems together. Okay, on to rule number two. And this one is huge. Listen attentively. And I mean, really listen. This isn't just about hearing the words someone is saying. It's about actively silencing your own internal monologue. That voice in your head that's already planning your rebuttal or your next brilliant point. You have to shut that down and just focus completely on the speaker. So how do you actually do that? Well, here are a few really practical techniques. First, maintain eye contact. Simple, but it works. Second, paraphrase what you heard back to them. Something like, okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying, this makes sure you're actually on the same page. And finally, make a point to actively seek out opinions from the quieter members of the team. Seriously, their insights are often pure gold. And that brings us to our third and final rule. Separate the issues from the people. This is the secret sauce for creating psychological safety on a team. It means that when you critique an idea, you are debating the concept. You are not in any way attacking the person who came up with it. And that distinction is absolutely crucial. And I think this quote just says it all. The whole point of a debate on a team is not to figure out who is right. It's to figure out what idea is best. It's a total mindset shift from a competition to a collaborative quest for the best solution. Okay, that's the theory, but how does this TALK framework actually hold up in the real world? Let's take a look at a couple of case studies to see it in action. So for our first case, we've got a classic showdown. The purchasing department wants to change a supplier to save some money, but the design department is digging in their heels because they're really worried about quality. Tensions are running high, and yep, it's starting to get personal. So, a leader using the talk framework steps in. What do? First, they listen attentively to the design team's concerns, making sure they feel heard and understood. Then they use rule number 3, separate the issue from the people. They reframe the whole debate. It's no longer purchasing versus design. It's, okay, team, does the potential quality risk here outweigh the cost savings? And just like that, it's a strategic debate, not a personal brawl. All right, case number 2. Here's another conflict you might recognize. You've got the existing business team, the ones fighting fires every single day, and they're looking at the forward-thinking AI research team as just a distraction. You can almost hear them thinking, are you kidding me? We are drowning over here, and you want to talk about robots? So here, the leader's job is all about rule number 1, communicate constantly. They have to be a master communicator. They don't just assign tasks. They paint a vivid picture of the future. They constantly share the vision of how this new AI project isn't a distraction, but is actually the thing that will liberate the overworked team in the long run. And that creates alignment towards a shared, better future. Okay, so you've seen the rules, you've seen the case studies. Now for the big question. How can you start putting talk into action? Well, here are a few practical tactics you can literally start using tomorrow. These are super simple, but they're so powerful. First, have a transparent contact list so everyone knows how to reach everyone else. Second, every meeting must have a clear agenda and concrete action items, no exceptions. Third, those quick daily updates on progress, they're a must. And finally, whenever you're debating ideas, ground the conversation by always asking, what's the business impact? But I can hear you asking, okay, but what about those really emotional team members? It's just so hard to separate the issue from the person with them. And you're right, that's a tough one. The key here is that the leader has to lead by example. The next time your own idea gets critiqued, you have to openly say, thank you, that's a great point, and it's going to make this project stronger. When you do that, you set the tone for the entire team. I want to leave you with this really powerful metaphor from this source material. Think of your organization as a fleet of ships, all navigating through a really dense fog. In that scenario, communication isn't some soft skill. No way. It's your radar and your radio. It is the only thing that keeps you from colliding with each other and ensures that you all reach your destination together. So the question to leave you with is, what fog is your team navigating right now?